G'day champions. So in this video I'm going to be looking at the hull design of this boat. I've reached a sort of top speed of the motor I have on this setup, but there's a few things on this hull I don't like. This will be a great video for everyone that is wanting a bit more speed out of their boats, just to start understanding the importance of the hull design. A lot of people are like, oh, I need a faster boat, I'll change my propeller, all that sort of stuff, raise the motor height, but it does get to a point where you've got to start looking at the hull design and see what tweaks you can do there. So I'll show you what I'm not stoked about this boat, which is these lifting strakes. They've obviously pressed these into the hull for rigidity, which it definitely would be doing, but a lifting strake is supposed to be designed to lift the hull out of the water. Obviously this hull's upside down at the moment, but a lifting strake really should be sort of level across from this point to this point. So at the moment, with the water rushing back this way, it also is rushing this way slightly because of the hull pressing on the water and the V angle there. So I reckon this point here in the hull would definitely be sort of a point where it's slowing the boat down, a braking point. Also, the fact that this lifting strake I don't feel is doing its job properly. It means the hull will actually be sitting in the water deeper, which means more of the hull in the water, which means a slower boat. So I'm going to go ahead and probably use a composite product as a test and fill that whole area in. I'll use a PVC board or something like that and just epoxy it in there. If it works well, I can probably just glass over that little section. Don't really want to weld a piece in there because it's thin aluminium and it'll probably, as I tack it, it'll probably buckle it areas. I've learned my lesson the hard way with that sort of thing. So anyway, we'll get into that and see what difference that makes. I'm sure it will. So another quick thing you can do while the hull's upside down is grab a hose and run the water across the hull in roughly the direction you think the water's going to be flowing when you're in the water, going along, and just sort of see the way the water behaves. So we'll just do that now. So you can really see, I reckon there's quite a bottleneck where it hits that strake. Sort of like the water's hitting a wall right at that point. So I think if that was, if that was more level there, I think the hull would actually get the lift it needs, and I think it will perform better. So we'll go from there. So I've got my lines now marked on the hull where I want to fill. So those lines are a level plane from the bottom of the lifting strake corners. So basically put a level across the keel, measured down to the corner of that strake, and then marked the same amounts onto the hull, just so it's going to be a level plane for it to sit on. There's something which is still not ideal. You can see now I've marked those lines. They angle their sort of plane in towards the keel at the back. Normally a lifting strake is taller at the front and a little bit shallower at the back to alleviate that. I don't think that's going to affect me because I'm feeling like the boat is going to basically be touching the water from there onwards, and then the water will sit like that kind of shape. So it's only the very back part of my hull I'm hoping to be on the water. I'm actually hoping these aren't in the water at all anymore and it sits on sort of a pad here. So that's the area there. I don't think that the strakes pulling in like that are going to affect it too much, hopefully. Anyway, I'm going to give it a go. So those pieces are cut in now. 1, 2. I've used a high density foam product. It's used in boat building. It's fine for epoxies, vinyl ester resins, polyester resins. Easy to use, very light, flexible. So it's not really a structural member here. I'm just trying to get the shape correct. So as you can see now, filling in these little triangles, I'm hoping that the hull gets a bit more lift and less of a congestion point at these 2 points here. like I said, there is still a wedge shape in those strakes, slightly leaning inwards, that center line. And I really don't think that's going to affect it much, as I'm only going to be sitting on this little back pad here and hoping that these sections of the hull are actually out of the water. So we'll epoxy those on and give it a go. So these are all taped up now, ready to be epoxied on. My only concern now is I hope that it doesn't give too much stern lift and make the front of the boat come down too much. I can move my weight back further a little in the boat as I'm driving. Anyway, I'm going to give this a go, and yeah, I think it's going to make a good difference. Proof will be in the pudding. Just an awesome little trick in boat building, or if you want to use a caulking gun to apply thickened epoxies or thickened resins in boat building. You can make your own sausages. I use like a builder's sort of sarking. Make my own sausages. I just put a little cable tie around the end that goes into the gun. Fill it up with my thickened resin or whatever, and make sure you don't get air bubbles and stuff in there. Put the normal nozzle on, screw it on, and then you can sort of pipe it in. Makes things much quicker. So there I'm just painting on an unthickened coat of resin directly to the hull and also the pieces I'm gluing on. That's the thickened stuff going on there. And just pressing the extra fairing piece in there and putting some weights on it. All right, so those two extra pieces are installed and sanded in on those lifting strakes. So you can see what I've added. So it should be a pretty level line. Yeah, so that lifting strake is level with that one. Awesome. All right, time for a test.